Hi, welcome back to Selena's Table and our little Aussie homestead. I'm Selena and we are in the kitchen. Today's not my normal filming day. However, when I went to make our regular bread, I burnt it. So this is hard. So I thought I would show you some ways that we can repurpose this so I don't have to either throw it out or give it to the chickens. Now, giving it to the chickens is a great alternative because they'll just turn it into eggs. But I'm going to turn it into some food products instead that our family will still get to enjoy. I have got another loaf of bread proving. The dough is proving, ready to be finished and put into the tin and rebaked. I won't forget this one because we do need bread today. If you'd like to see the recipe and how I make our white sandwich bread, I can link a video for you. It was just a couple of videos back from this one. And it's normally a really great loaf. I wouldn't recommend leaving it in the oven for over an hour like I did because I completely forgot about it. But not is all lost. I'm going to repurpose it. So I'll show you what we're going to turn this into. Okay, I should start by saying you don't need a burnt loaf of bread to make this. You can use stale bread. You can also use fresh bread. You can use whatever bread you've got. But this is a perfect use for a loaf that's just not really good enough to eat. So I'm going to turn it into two products. One, super easy, breadcrumbs. You may have seen me make breadcrumbs in one of my freezer videos, but that's okay because I make it so regularly, you will continue to see it, no doubt. So I'm going to turn the crust into breadcrumbs and I'm going to turn the inner loaf into French toast. So if you didn't burn the loaf, if it was just old bread, you could definitely leave the crust on. Only because this is so hard and so dry am I actually going to use it as breadcrumbs and only the center for the French toast. French toast is super easy, it's adaptable. Growing up, French toast was a savory dish, but I do believe that there are people in some countries that consider it a sweet dish. I know one of my sons loves to put maple syrup on French toast. So the custard base I'm going to make today is not going to have any flavouring in it at all. That lends it to be served however you want to use it. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to trim off the crust. The inner is nice and soft. Like, we could have kept it to eat, but it's just as easy for me to make another loaf and use this for something else. So you'll need a food processor or a really high-speed blender for this. This is actually a thermocooker, but we use it as our food processor and our blender. So I'm just going to I've put the blade in, and I'm just going to put my crusts, I'll chop them up a little bit smaller, and I'll put them in there, and we're just going to whiz it, and then it'll be done. Okay, so I'm just going to turn the blender on and give all those crusts a good whiz up until they are a fine or semi-fine breadcrumb, and then they'll be done. That little beep, if you heard it, that was just my blender food processor finishing, and it's got some chunky bits, but I'm happy with that. So that is just going to go straight into, this is my freezer bag of breadcrumbs, and I'll just keep adding to this. It doesn't matter that some of this is sourdough, some of this is sandwich bread. This particular loaf had sesame seeds. None of those things matter to me. We just keep topping this bag up, and once it's full, we will just start another bag. And I'll give that a shake. There we go, you can see the burnt bits of the dark brown. I'll just shake that to mix it up. And that's done. And I'll pop that in my freezer for whenever I need breadcrumbs. So there we go, there's the dead, dry, crusty bits used up. And I'll just get this out of the way. With what is left, I have still got some crust on it. I'm going to chop this up into sticks. I decided let's do French toast sticks. And we will keep these either in the fridge or the freezer, and our family will enjoy it for breakfast over the next couple of days. So let's cut this up and then I'll show you how to make the custard. So French toast, you want to have it a little bit thick if you have the option. If you're using a commercial sliced loaf of bread, just use that. But if you do have a unsliced loaf, just make your bread just slightly thicker when you go to cut it. So the slice slightly thicker, and I am cutting this way, lengthways. So probably what we call a toast slice in Australia when you're buying bread. It's a little bit thicker. It's about 1 centimetre, maybe 1.5. Okay, like that. And then with these, I'm going to cut them in half. Like that. And then it's just, you just cut this however big you want them to be. I'm thinking, I think we might do into thirds, so that we get six little French toast sticks per slice. So again, in half, move those out of the way. And then this way, we're just going to cut it into thirds roughly. Set them aside. This one's a little bit thicker, but that's okay. So as you can see, we've got a nice little selection of French toast sticks. Okay, so for the custard, I'm just going to make it in this little bowl, and I'll show you. It's very simple. It's cream and eggs. So French toast is technically cream and eggs. If you don't have cream, you can use milk. I have in the past, and it still works just fine. I need a little bit more cream. Just grab another. Okay. Now, you can add, if this is something that you want to add cinnamon to, you can do that. If you want to add salt, you can do that. If you want to add a little bit of sugar, you can add a little bit of sugar. I make French toast in a really simple way so that the people who want to enjoy eating French toast can make it however they like. So we will sprinkle some cinnamon sugar on it if that's what we feel like doing. We will pour some maple syrup on it if that's what we feel like doing. And we will even put a little bit of salt on it if we feel like having it as a savoury thing. So it's up to you. You can either add some seasoning to this or sugar, or you can leave it plain like I'm going to today and just make the end result the flavour that you like. So how much cream was that? That was about 500 mils. So about 500 mils of cream in here. And we're just going to add some eggs. I'll probably add 4 or 5 eggs for 500 mils of cream. Yeah, 5 eggs. And then just give it a whisk. Okay, that's whisked together. We are ready to cook up our French toast. All right, got a heavy cast iron pan here. You could use just a frying pan. You can even do this in an electric frying pan as well, but I like to use this one. So I'm just going to turn this on and get it nice and hot. Not too hot, just warm, just warm. So, and just get myself organized with the bread over here and the custard mix there, and I will pop the whisk in the sink. I have some butter here. I have pre-sliced into some little pieces. So I'm just going to pop one of those in. And you can see there's my new loaf of bread. Almost ready to go in the oven. Now while this is heating, I'm going to pop a couple of my French toast sticks into my custard, because I want them to start absorbing the mixture. Okay, my hands are clean, and you don't have to use a fork for this. You can definitely just use your hands. That is up to you. You want this a bit warmer, you want this bubbling and hot before we start. You can store these in the freezer too, so that you could take them out as you wanted them and either pop them in the microwave or the oven to heat them up. You can also keep this mixture in the fridge for about 3 days. So you don't, if you wanted to have these freshly made, like for the next couple of days, you could keep your breadsticks in a bag, like a Ziploc bag, and you could wrap this and keep them in the fridge, and then every morning or every time you wanted to have some French toast, you can freshly cook it if you like as well. So we're just going to let that cook. So I'm just going to keep cooking all of these until they're all done. And I've only probably got 2 more batches for that whole loaf of bread. I actually like to let these ones soak while those ones are cooking. Not for much longer than that. I don't want it just completely wet through, but I feel like the amount of time it takes for one batch to cook, those ones soaking, and it ends up with the perfect amount of egginess through it. And I'm going to put my loaf of bread in the oven, but I'm going to set a timer. Alright, so we ended up with this many French toast sticks. I'll let them cool completely before I put them in a Ziploc bag if I'm going to freeze them. So just remember that. If you want to freeze them, make sure they're cold. Otherwise, straight into the fridge until someone feels like eating them. So we've got these, and we've got a bag of breadcrumbs. So it just goes to show, don't throw it out. Don't throw away a burnt loaf of bread. Just use a bit of creativity. Everything can be repurposed. So thanks for spending time with me today. I hope you liked this video. I do have more videos coming, so I'll see you next time.